Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. I call to order tonight's meeting of the Temecula Traffic Safety Commission at 6 o'clock. And we will begin with the flag salute, if everyone will please rise. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and tonight is a special occasion. We have the swearing-in ceremony. So at this point in the meeting, I'm going to turn it over to our City Clerk and Director of Legislative Affairs, Ms. Randy Joel.
Assuming this is working. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's always nice to be able to visit the commissions. I don't get a chance to do that very often, so it is wonderful, sir, to see you, Commissioner Carter, and to see you, Commissioner Richardson, and you as well, Chair Maddox. Tonight we have with us a new member that's going to be joining you, Lawrence, a.k.a. Larry Slesser. So, Mr. Slesser, if you would join me at the podium, please. And if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Lawrence Slesser,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
Uh,
Upon which I am
upon-
about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Mr. Slesser.
Thank you.
And at this point, if you would, before you offer you're seated and offer your comments, if you would like the family to come up, we can take a picture.
Oh, what about the 15-minute speech our new members have to do?
I assume that's from the dais.
I'll have to cut it down.
Here's your certificate, Larry.
Thank you.
And I can take anybody's phones that you guys want. Got it. And then you have one. And we'll try to take it just directly of you, and then we'll catch the big screen too. Thank you.
Should I say something now?
Yeah, welcome to the team. Floor is yours. If you'd like to introduce yourself, say a few words.
First of all, I'd like to welcome my family and thank them for their support. They put up with me and my grandpa jokes, and they even laugh. And I wanted to also look at the monitor here. I didn't realize my hair is so white, but glad to have hair. Anyway, I'm grateful for for the town of, for the city of Temecula, for the goodness that's here. I hope to add to it. I love this town and this city, and want to improve it any way that I can. At this point, I can say what a friend of mine said, everything's done but the work. So I'll turn it back over to you, Dave. Thank you.
All right, well spoken. And we always love to hear, how much love people have for the town here, and glad to have a longtime resident joining us here on the commission. So with that, we're ready to take our roll call with everyone seated now, if you would please.
Commissioner Carter?
Here.
Maddox?
Here?
Richardson?
Here.
Slesser?
Here.
Thank you.
Family has to stay the whole meeting on the first meeting.
Yeah, that's a rule.
They're going to
All right.
without you.
So I assume that means we have no public comment tonight?
No public comments tonight.
All right, very good. We'll dispense with the reading of those rules and move on to our consent calendar, where all matters listed will be considered to be routine and enacted with one roll call vote. We have just one item tonight. Number 1, approve the action minutes of December 19th, 2024.
So moved. I'll second.
Commissioner Carter?
Aye.
Maddox?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Slesser?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. That passes, and we are on to the business of the evening. So number 2, we have our selection of chair and vice chair for the calendar year 2025.
I'd like to nominate David Maddox to continue as our chair for the coming year, or this year.
Second?
All right, I'm happy to accept that. It's certainly not my intention to hold on to the position, and I do want to see us continue to rotate it in the future, but yeah, happy to stay on as chair for another year, and thank you for your confidence in me. We can go ahead and take the vote on that.
Commissioner Carter?
Aye.
Maddox?
Aye?
Richardson?
Aye.
And Slesser?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and then as a separate motion, we will take a nomination for vice chair, and I would like to put out there as my wingman for this year, Commissioner Carter, if you'd like.
I accept. If you will. I mean, you guys voted.
Second?
Second.
Commissioner Carter?
Aye.
Maddox?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
And Slesser?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, very good. On to business item number 3, D. Portola Road and Jedediah Smith Road Roundabout Project Update. And we'll go ahead and hear the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. This presentation is to provide an update on the De Portola Road, Jedediah Smith Roundabout Project. This presentation is going to actually summarize key points from our December 17th stakeholder meeting with the Los Ranchitos HOA and residents. We met with them and the design consultant to go over the project. The topics we discussed were the project history, project background, elements of a modern roundabout. We showed a proposed concept, and then we also had stakeholder feedback for Q&A. This meeting was recorded and is actually posted on the city website should anyone want more information. It was a long meeting. We answered a lot of questions, but this presentation is going to focus on these main topics. So the roundabout project was developed because the increased traffic, backups, and overall driver frustration with the intersection of Jedediah Smith Road and De Portola/Inez Road. It's a failing intersection. I think everyone kind of can see that, especially in the PM. There's traffic backing up, and generally, we've been hearing there are actually accidents that are occurring. We've actually heard that from the residents, which is kind of there's property damage accidents. None of them are really being reported, but we've heard there's actually quite a few. So there's also a desire to calm the fast-moving traffic and improve safety for all roadway users at this intersection. So this is why this project was developed. A little background on the project right now. The scope of the project is to design a single-lane roundabout. The design consultant is GHD. They are highly regarded and well-known for their roundabout design. So the city has a really good consultant on this, so we feel really comfortable with their work so far. The approximate construction cost of the project is going to be around $2.5 to $3 million, and the city secured $800,000 in HUD federal grant funds about a year and a half ago, I believe. So that'll be going towards the construction. Currently, the design began in June 2024. A conceptual layout has been complete, and you can kind of see a portion of that on the screen, at the bottom of the screen. We have an approved CEQA permit. It's categorical exemption, and we have just finished reviewing the 60% design submitted for review by the consultant. They just got that back at the end of last week. Our next steps will be to submit a NEPA permit application. We have to go through NEPA because we are taking HUD federal funds, so we have to do this extra environmental document. And that's actually going to be submitted within the next 2 weeks. I'm working with the consultant on that right now. And we are expecting a complete detailed design around spring, early summer 2025. That just depends on how everything keeps moving along, but so far so good. As I mentioned, the GHD did a really in-depth presentation. They really explained what modern roundabouts do. And I think it's good to have that little background as we go through this presentation. What do modern roundabouts do? They gradually reduce the speed of cars as they come to the approach of the intersection. For this design, it's going to be designed at a 25-mile-an-hour fastest path. So in order to get through that roundabout, the max you can probably go without kind of careening and having trouble is 25 miles an hour. Most people will go much slower. Roundabouts reduce severity of accidents. They eliminate the broadside and head-on collisions, which lead to much more severe accidents. So they get rid of that. There are going to be accidents. Every intersection is always going to have an accident, but these are going to really reduce the severe ones. It reduces the number of conflict points compared to normal intersections. And it streamlines movement. It's going to keep traffic moving at a nice, safe, gradual speed. It's also going to be good for pedestrians. The crosswalk distances are going to be reduced. You can see there's refuge islands, so they cross half the road at a time. And it's going to accommodate cyclists within the roundabout and potentially coming up on the sidewalk. We are still determining that, but these are options that we have with the roundabout. And in the end, roundabouts simplify the decision-making. Once everyone gets used to driving roundabouts, it's an easier decision-making type of intersection. So this slide focuses on the design elements of the roundabout. The approach speed, so there's splitter islands. These are raised islands, and there's kind of like bulb outs on the design. It's intended to reduce the speed. It makes people slow down, and it enhances the driver's expectancy of what's coming up, this intersection that's coming up. The speed of the road is 40 miles an hour, and reducing them down into a more manageable speed is going to be critical for the operation of this intersection. This roundabout is actually going to be optimized with an oval. It's not a true circle. When the consultant laid it all out to fit it in and to get the proper deflection, they settled on an oval, which, from what I'm learning from them, is ovals are actually becoming more and more common for these type of roundabouts. It's going to have some community focus accommodations. There's going to be the path, the pedestrian path. There's going to be enhanced experience for pedestrians and bicyclists, as I mentioned with the crosswalks. Those may be enhanced with RRFBs. Those are things we're looking at in order to make it a more safe intersection. There's less property intrusion. They've managed to fit this within the existing right-of-way of the roadway. There's no right-of-way takes. There is going to be some temporary construction easements to tie into some edge conditions, and we'll work with the residents of the 4 properties here, but this roundabout fits. And here's a larger layout of the proposed intersection. You can see the long splitter islands. That's really going to reduce people's speeds. There's landscape buffers There's going to be a mounded central island. This is going to be a key to this roundabout is to have that raised central island. We don't know what's going to be in there yet. We just have, that's going to be later on in design. What are we going to do for landscaping? Are we going to do an art piece? You know, we'll work with the HOA and the design team on that. It's going to have safety lighting, and that's pretty much it. And there's also going to be a raised truck apron, so the bigger trucks can kind of cycle around it and still make the turns. The last portion of the stakeholder meeting was the stakeholder feedback. Residents had a lot of questions, and the main items I kind of summarized on this table. These are the biggest ones. Although there was more items, these were the biggest ones that we had to handle. First one was property encroachment. As I mentioned, no permanent take of property is going to be needed. There will be some temporary construction easements, but no person's property will be affected on that end. Noise. The noise study confirms that there's not going to be any increase or substantial increase in the noise. It's an existing roadway, existing noise is already there, so this won't make it worse. Crosswalk safety, everyone mentioned that. Is it going to be safer? We think it's going to be safer especially when we consider things like RFBs. You're crossing half the distance of a road at a time. We think this is going to be a good improvement for pedestrians and equestrians if they choose to go in this direction for this neighborhood. Traffic speed. This was a big one. We have reduced speeds on Departola and Inez last year. We got it down from 45 to 40. Residents are still concerned with speed. This is going to be designed, as I mentioned, with a 25-mile-an-hour fastest path. So leading up to it and exiting, people are going to be going slower because they have to slow down to enter, and then they'll build up speed once they leave. But we think with this gradual reduction and being able to get through the intersection, we think it's going to lead to less driver frustration. I think a lot of motorists are hitting the stop sign, they're frustrated, and then they're punching it. They're kind of, especially if they're waiting on long queues, they're kind of angry going through it. And so I think this is going to lead to just better driving experience, and even bicyclists and pedestrians. It's a better overall experience for all users. Traffic backup. We had a traffic study done. It's showing that this is going to dramatically improve any of the backup that's occurring with the all-way stop. I'm sure there's going to be times, maybe in the PM, where there's going to be it's going to take a little bit to get through, but it's not going to be nowhere near the issues we're experiencing with an all-way stop. So we expect traffic to flow much better. Another item someone brought up was headlights in the homes, which is a very good question. We are going to look at that, addressing it during the design. It's probably going to be on a landscape feature. We tend to block it with something, but the consultant will consider that, and we'll make sure that's addressed during the design. And then there were also concerns about driveway gaps, getting out of the driveways. We don't foresee this as being an issue. They didn't study this in the study. It's not something really people study as a driveway gap, but we just think traffic will be flowing better, and we think people will be able to get in and out. Our next steps, we're going to complete the draft design. As I mentioned, we just reviewed the 60%, so they'll be sending us 90% in probably another month or two. Throughout the whole process, we're going to update Los Ranchitos. We're going to probably have another stakeholder meeting, probably discuss landscaping concepts and make sure they're on board with what we're proposing. We'll eventually complete final design, as I said, around early summer, and we'll eventually solicit bids for construction, award construction, and then go out for constructing the project. Throughout the whole process, we'll keep the HOA informed. And with that, staff's recommendation for the commission is to receive and file this report. That concludes the presentation, and I can open up to any questions.
Excellent. We'll start with any questions or comments at that end.
Just one on the existing design right now has no sidewalks in it. So are these actual sidewalks? Are they walking paths? And will they extend all the way on Jedediah to 79? And how far will they extend if they do?
At this point, we're not extending them all the way. We're just keeping them within the limits of the project scope. Okay. That is something we will have to look at in the future, but that is a little bit more of an undertaking than this project budget can handle.
And then the other question is, I know we've had some issues with the previous or the current roundabout, people going through that fence there. Are there gonna be some type of buffers or something built up, or high curbs or something that?
You know, that was also, and that's a good one, that was also a resident concern with that. We tend to think there's not gonna be that issue with this one. There's a lot longer splitter items. We think people are gonna be reducing their speed a lot more. They're gonna see this, there's gonna be a rounded, the central island kind of like helping their line of sight. We are still gonna be considering that because that was brought up. But we do have to be careful with what we put at those corners.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, and on that end, any questions, comments?
No, just comment. First of all, I'm amazed you guys did this without any property takes. That's shocking to me. So I think that's pretty cool. And so the cross-hatching here is raised medians? There?
Yes.
Okay. The other drawing showed just painted, so I wanted to make sure. So this is good. And I do see that the turn lane into the one residence there as a additional feature. Does that require widening the road there, or are we not really widening the road while we do this?
We're widening the road, we're pushing it out. We have to do the pushing out of the road in order to create the deflection. If we just keep it straight, roundabouts don't work very well. So you have to push them and pull them back in.
Very good. All right, that's it. Nice work.
I was very impressed with your presentation, Nick. I had several questions, and you answered them all. I guess another question would be, is there any other intersections that you're considering putting in these roundabouts?
At this point, there's none that I can think of, unless, Ron, you have any that you're aware of. We don't have any on the docket that I'm aware of. Oh, actually, I stand corrected. Altair. Altair has 3 of them that they are proposing. So we have been reviewing those in design. But not sure when that's coming in, but it's being worked on. Yeah.
Yeah, as part of the Old Town specific plan, there's also future consideration for an entrance roundabout coming into Old Town and one leaving Old Town at Santiago. But those are very far out, like wish list type items that could really accentuate Old Town. But obviously, in those 2 situations, a lot of right-of-way would be needed. There'd be a lot of reconfiguration. But it is in the specific plan that Old Town would have a couple of roundabouts to really accentuate Old Town. But at this time, no plans. Nothing on the CIP books right now for any type of roundabouts that the city has planned. Nick mentioned some private development, but no city CIP roundabouts.
Okay, thank you.
All right, yeah, amazingly thorough presentation. I think this project is really going to live up to the promise of the Complete Streets policy that the city adopted about a year ago. Certainly going to be a big improvement over the current condition of the road there, and should make these roads much more safe, efficient, convenient, connected for all the users and modes. So really happy to see that. As I was looking at how this intersection kind of fits into some of the other city plans, I was also reminded at how critical it is, not just to the people who live closest to it, but also as part of the Temecula Loop Trail and as part of the overall circulation element of the city. So it's important that we get it right, and I think we're on the path to do that. The only suggestion that I was going to come up with, you already addressed in the presentation, just keeping the HOA very much in the loop as those future decision points come up with the public art or with the landscaping. So glad to hear that. And, I've seen staff and council have already been on top of that. And then, I guess lastly, just to what I think I heard Commissioner Carter alluding to is how this is going to connect up with and affect the design of the rest of the corridor there. So my hope looking forward would be that this project can really set the tone for both the upcoming update to the general plan and the overall future vision of Deep Portola and Eunice. So great work, and thank you for the report. If there are no other comments, we will consider that received and filed. That brings us to our division reports, and starting with CHP, do we have a report?
Thank you, Commissioner. Lieutenant Alex Antil, CHP Temecula. These are some stats from December 2024. Our Child Safety Seats program continues to roll. We had 16 installations, and we continue taking appointments generally on Fridays and anytime that folks need them outside of that. We are pretty flexible scheduling. Traffic safety presentations in the community, we're at 8. Other community events that we attended, while Chips for Kids ran in December, we collected over 1,500 toys to distribute to needy families, and felt really good about doing that. Temecula Christmas Parade was a really pleasant event for our office to participate in, and thanks for having us, Temecula. I'll start with our overall citation count was at 701, speeding violations 345, verbal warnings 282, overall enforcement contacts, total enforcement contacts were 1,329, motorist services were 297, our DUI arrests in December were at 64, our DUI collisions were at 21, injury collisions 73, property damage only collisions at 109. That concludes my presentation. Any
Great.
questions?
Thank you. Any questions? All right, seeing none, thank you for the report, and we will, do we have a police chief's report tonight?
I do.
Excellent, all right,
I
thank
know
you.
you guys really missed it
Yeah.
last time I was here, so. So we have total citations issued for December's just over 1,900. The hazardous and non-hazardous citations, about 847 for hazardous, 229 and non-hazardous, so about 80% are hazardous citations that we're issuing. I mean, you can see the stats, a couple of the, our commercial enforcement's 13 for last year, so he's, Deputy Grip is hammering the commercial drivers. If we go to the next slide for DUIs, we have total DUI arrests for the year to date for last year was 366, and then previous year was 392. So we had a little less DUIs last year, 27 for the month. And then we had 4 OTS city-funded special operations for all of last year. A couple of those were DUI checkpoints. And then the last slide kind of just breaks down the citations over the last 3 months for the different types of sites. We have quick hit or ticket, distracted drivers, stoplight abuse, and then DUI arrests down at the bottom. And then our collisions for the last 3 months, our non-injury collisions are at 61, and then injury collisions are at 80. So, does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
Super riveting.
No, no, we appreciate the stats. No, it's good to see and keep track of this all. So, yeah, thank you so much for your report. All right, with that, we will receive and file the rest and go on to the director report.
Well, good evening, commissioners, and welcome again, Commissioner Slesser, to the group. So we really appreciate you being here. As far as updates go, the best ones that I could give tonight are, you all know about our northbound Winchester closure. That has been going very well. Appreciate the help from CHP. So far, that movement has gone very well, and we've seen an increased count in Murrieta of traffic. About 20 to 30% is what I understand the Public Works Director told me. But not a lot of complaints out there. It seems to be moving pretty well, so let's hope that it keeps going that way. The slip ramp will be closed for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll switch over to the loop on northbound will be closed. And then we'll finish the CD lanes and then open it all back up. So anyway, that's going well if you have any questions regarding that. As far as the winds go, appreciate the help from RSO. They've been helping us out with some of the signals that are down. But our Public Works crews have been pretty diligent, getting out there, switching out batteries, making sure that the signals either go on flash or get back online. It's a challenge, but they're doing a great job, and hopefully everybody is just driving a little bit safer out there considering signals are down and the winds and everything else. But those are our two main ones, but I'm here for any other questions you have regarding any of our projects or traffic projects in the city.
Great, and important for people to remember, when the signal has no light, treat it like a stop sign, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and feel free to, give us a call if you see one down. I tell staff all the time, don't feel like you're bothering. Text Nick anytime. He's willing to take all your calls.
All right.
You know? So, no, we do appreciate when you guys call them out. So staff calls us all the time and lets us know when something's down, because sometimes people just don't bother reporting it, thinking somebody else is going to report it. So any observations you guys have are welcome by our department.
Excellent. Before we go on to commission reports, any other questions on Director?
Just have one question that I know that was near and dear to Brad Sullivan, was the lights on the walkway out there on Pechanga Parkway, the walk path,
Yeah.
the progress on those?
Those are still ongoing. The parts, the lights themselves needed to be ordered. So those are in now, so that project's going to go forward. And I'm really glad you brought Commissioner Sullivan up, because I forgot to mention that a celebration of life is going to take place for him at the Wolf Creek HOA Clubhouse, February 1st. That's a Saturday, 1 to 3. So 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. His best friend, Mr. French, as well as his fiancée, asked that we announce that, and they would love for people just to drop in that day. February 1st, 1 to 3. It's a Saturday, so thank you for bringing him up. I didn't want to miss that one, and I almost did. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. When Edison turns off power to certain quadrants because of potential line loss, or how are signals affected by that? Is there battery backup for everything, or?
Yeah, you want to take this one, Nick? Yeah.
Yeah, we usually get an alert from SCE of what quadrant's going to be taken down. Then we look at that quadrant and determine what signals are in the area. Every signal does have battery backup. If the batteries, they last a certain amount of time. Once that goes down, we either have to replace it with more batteries, or we have to bring in a generator. If we're going to run it overnight, we don't want staff out there, we use a generator. But yeah, we do have battery backup.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for the report and the updates on all those projects. And to close it out, we will have our commissioner reports. Anything down on, I'll start on the left this time.
Nothing at this time.
Go ahead.
No, I drive Butterfield where the power's been off at my house for one. But driving Butterfield, the flashing lights are all working. I only saw one dark intersection. It was fixed the next time I came through. So the crews are on it, and we appreciate the quick response from staff.
Yeah, ditto. Anything else? All right. I had the opportunity to attend the e-bike safety workshop a couple weeks ago over at the conference center. There was an excellent presentation put together by our friends at the RSO. They took a pretty technical dive into California Vehicle Code, which I appreciated. But what I think really resonated and got the most visceral reaction out of the room was the CCTV footage that they put together. Pretty recent incidents just from over the holidays. They showed some near misses and some actual accidents, which I think that's always very effective at getting the message across. Anytime our law enforcement can give us civilians even just a little window into the things that they're seeing out there and dealing with every day, it could be pretty eye-opening. Not that we're not all aware about the e-bike issues, been working on that for a couple of years now, but just kind of hits different when you see that perspective. Our next hurdle, I think, is going to be getting that presentation out to those in the community who probably need to see it the most. But, we got people working on that. And for now, I just wanted to acknowledge another exceptionally well put together public traffic safety outreach effort by our Temecula Police. Go ahead.
Real quick on a question. Are they planning on, or do they do it currently with the schools?
So currently, there are separate outreach efforts in the schools. They do Caught with Your Helmet On, where they try to reward good behavior for kids who are riding with their helmet on. They'll get gift cards to local businesses who are supporting the program. There's also been safety assemblies. So when the elementary schools do their typically Friday flag ceremonies with all the kids out on the blacktop, they'll do like a little safety presentation on good riding habits and how to kind of obey the laws of the road and that. I think they are looking at really getting a more robust permitting program going, along with a sort of a classroom or one-time course component to that to earn the permit, to be able to park the bikes on the school campuses. So that's still in the works, and we're thinking there's going to be an update on that pretty soon in the next couple of months at the next meeting of the Active Transportation Community Advisory Panel.
Yep. From our understanding, the Temecula Valley safety officer for the high school had moved on, and there's a new officer in place, which that delayed a little bit of the coordination with RSO. But now that the school has somebody in that role now, RSO is going to take a bigger approach with that person and start to have that educational kind of series going on with parents, with staff, with everybody at the school, as Commissioner Maddox said. And then most likely you will see something come back to this commission at a future date as far as an ordinance update. It's quite possible. I know that this commission heard that ordinance change probably a year ago, Nick and Eric, probably about a year ago, year and a half ago. But it's possible you'll see another one because every city seems to be addressing this a little bit different and adding some language to their ordinances. And so you may see that come back to this commission, so something to think about.
Yeah, that's good to know too. And I think it was certainly a good idea for the city to partner and do this this workshop that went through the city website to sign up for. There was a little bit of self-selection bias there, maybe more conscientious people who are following the issue, but certainly the more we can kind of get this program out into the schools and meet the community where they're at there, I think it's going to be more effective that way. So hoping to see that get out there this year. All right, any other questions? Okay, then our next meeting will be February 27th, right here in City Hall. And until then, we are adjourned.